Joined here at the RJC Summit by Mark Rice, a congressional candidate in Illinois. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here.
Thanks for having me.
You've got a kippah. You're a strong, ardent Zionist.
You don't know many Zionists stronger than me. I'm my whole life.
And you're running for Congress now.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen too often. Tell us about the nature of the campaign so far.
Well, before I do that, since you call me a Zionist, I've been to Israel 4 times so far this year.
This year?
I have a lot of family, bar mitzvahs, weddings. I'm not somebody LARPing as a Jew. You know, I'm a little bit of a Baal Tshuva, and I'm actually an 8th generation descendant of the Vilna Gaon. If you know what the Vilna Gaon was. So I'm very proud of my Jewish heritage. I'm very proud of my Judaism. It's central to who I am. And perhaps part of that is that I believe what's happening to our country, to where I live, in my district in Illinois, which is just outside of the city of Chicago, is something that I really almost feel like a divine inspiration to do something about it. I can't just sit by and watch everything that's going on. It affects my family. What's going on in Israel, of course, affects my family directly. They're, in the army and so forth. I've lost, unfortunately, 2 friends to what happened the other day in Gaza. And I just feel compelled to do something about it, but I'm just a business guy, not a career politician. God, Hashem forbid. It's not what I want to be, and I frankly think there's so much corruption and just sort of wrong-headedness with what's been going on that I'm compelled to, I hope all of us are compelled to do something about it. So that's really my reason for running.
What are the foundations of your campaign? What platform are you running on?
Well, I'm running to be somebody to represent the people, as opposed to so many Democrats, but even some Republicans. I feel that we've just lost our way. So many leaders, whether it's the Senate, of course the executive branch, but in the Congress, they're in it for themselves. They're either corrupt or they're influenced so much by money and the media and this and that they've really lost their way. And so, frankly, bringing somebody who's a servant of the people is really more of my foundation. But of course, we have very strong views on crime and generally the border, including fentanyl and all of that, and of course the economy. And then there are many more issues as well. But Illinois has a long history of being a corrupt state with corrupt politicians, and I've learned from getting into this process, it's true. And so I'm coming in with a staff that's from the red part of the state, from the Republican part of the state, and they have a history of winning elections. And I'm just not following the playbook of what's gone on that has failed Illinois and failed Chicago for so long, that it's gotten so bad that it's affecting everybody. You go to the grocery, you can't afford it. You want a mortgage, you forget about it. You walk outside, you might get shot. And where I was married, the Jewish club in Chicago, the Standard Club, now has 1,500 migrants living in it. And if you go down the street, you really can't go down the street. It's so very dangerous. And some people that are very far on the left think that's okay. Well, it's not okay. So my choices are to move to Israel or to a red state, which a lot of people are doing, from Illinois, New York, California, or try to stay and fix it. And you can't complain about it if you don't do something about it. So I'm really making a big effort to do something about it.
You're racing in a swing district, which, especially in a presidential year, often depends on what's going on up ticket at the presidential level.
The top of the ticket is important, yes.
How important is it going to be in your race, and how do you see those prevailing winds blowing next year in terms of Democrat versus Republican, especially in your area?
Right. There's a long history, especially in Illinois, of people winning races where they don't necessarily follow with the top of the ticket. Not everybody's a straight ticket voter. So my campaign actually very much believes in data and not so much spending lots of money. My opponent is a very left-wing Democrat. He has $12 million already in his account. So there's no way I'm going to outspend him. I believe he has the most amount of money of any congressman in all of U.S. Congress. But what we believe in is the ground game. In fact, a lot of what the Democrats do is they have more or less slaves who work for them or who depend on them to win elections for their very livelihood. Union workers, people with patronage jobs, you know what that is, like fake jobs. There's a lot of corruption. We don't have any of that. Republicans go to synagogue or they go to church and they take care of their families and they have jobs. They're not part of that corruption. So what we're doing is relying on both raising and investing some of my own money and raising enough money to hire people and to get people that are now woken to all of what this leftist ideology has done to get out there and knock on doors and and call them on the telephone and email them and do it over and over, but in a very targeted way to target those people that can make a difference. I have historically about a D+5, which means we have a 5% disadvantage, and that's very overcomable in any election, but we're targeting the exact people that can make up the 5 to 10, 15%, and doing that, spending time and money and really what I call shoe leather, a lot of hard work meeting voters and creating what we call voter intimacy, where they actually know me or they know my staff or both, and hopefully many people, they understand it's important. I mean, a lot's at stake in this election.
Mark Rice will be keeping tabs on
Hey,
the 8th
thank you.
Congressional
Thank
District
you.
race there.
Thank you very
so
much,
much for
Mike.
taking
Appreciate
the
it.
time here.